You know when you're watching a video and the music is too loud and you can't hear the person talking? It doesn't have to be this way if you know how to use ducking. Ducking is the act of lowering one sound when another sound plays. And while there are a lot of ways to do this automatically, it's not always the best choice, and I'll show you why. In this video, I'm gonna show you two different ways to do ducking inside DaVinci Resolve. One is automatic and the other is manual. And then I'm gonna talk about the pros and cons of each, and I'll help you decide which one you should be using. I actually use both of them kind of mixed together, and I'll show you that too. So secure the cup and let's get into it. Now, before we dive into the how, let me quickly show you what ducking actually looks like. So here I have a timeline with two tracks. We've got a voiceover and some music. Right now, the music is at full volume the entire time. And when I play it back, you'll hear the problem immediately. Look, I know that this is controversial, but pineapple on pizza is actually incredible. Yeah, so that's definitely not ideal. Now watch what happens if I apply ducking. Is actually incredible. People act like I've committed some kind of crime against Italy, but you know what? Sweet and savory is a legitimate flavor combination. Hear the difference? The music gets quieter every time the voice comes in, and then it comes back up when the voice stops. Now, like I said, there are two ways that we're gonna make this happen in DaVinci Resolve. The first is automatic, where the program does all the work for you, and the second one is manual, where you control every single dip yourself. Let's set up the automatic method, and I'm about 99.998472% sure that this works in both the free and the studio versions. Leave me a note down in the comments if I'm wrong about that. The good news is that you can do this right from the edit page, so you don't have to venture into Fairlight. First, let's open the inspector if it's not already open. It's that button in the top right corner of the screen. Now there are two ways to get to the ducking controls. The first is to click in the empty space beside your track name. So for my music track, I'll click right there. The second way is if you already have a clip selected on that track, you'll see a little button in the top left of the inspector under the audio tab. This switches you from clip view to track view. Either way, you'll end up in the same place. Now, if you make sure you're on the audio tab and you scroll down, you'll see the ducker section there with the other track level effects. Toggle the ducker switch on, it turns red when it's active. Now you need to set the source. This is the track that's going to trigger the ducking. So whatever track your dialogue is on, select that. Mine is on a track called Dialogue 1, so I'll select that from the dropdown. You can actually add multiple source tracks if you have more than one person speaking. Just hit the plus button to add another one. For now, we've just got the one, so we'll stick with that. Next is the duck level. This controls how much the music drops when a voice is detected. I like to crank this all the way to -18 decibels, which is the maximum that you're allowed to do. And honestly, that's one of the limitations of this method. Sometimes -18 just isn't enough, and you can't go any lower than that. We'll talk more about that in a bit though. There's also this do auto patch setting, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I have no idea what that does. I leave it at 0 and everything works just fine, so let's just move on and pretend that we never saw it. Okay, so playing it back now and we'll hear the difference. The acidity of the pineapple cuts through the richness of the cheese. The saltiness of the ham plays perfectly against the sweetness of the fruit. It's balanced, it's intentional. And here's the thing that really gets me. People like to say that fruit doesn't belong on pizza, but tomato sauce? That's a fruit. Tomatoes are literally a fruit. So if you're eating any Okay, so it's working, but it doesn't quite sound right yet. The ducking is a little bit abrupt and the timing feels a little bit off. So to fix that, we're gonna need to dig into the advanced settings. There are two ways to access advanced controls. The first is right there in the inspector. Just click the little arrow next to advanced to expand it. The second way is to open up the plugin window, which gives you all the same controls, plus a nice visual representation of what's happening in the plugin. You can open that by clicking the little icon in the top right of the ducker section. Let's break down what each of these advanced functions does. Look ahead is basically how far ahead the ducker peaks at your dialogue track, so it lets the music start ducking slightly before you actually speak, so it's not reacting late. I usually keep this pretty low, somewhere between 15 and 50 milliseconds. Rise time is how fast the music ducks down once the dialogue is detected, which is a super weird name for it because the music is going down, not up, but whatever, I don't make the rules. A lower value means it drops quickly, and a higher value means it fades down more gradually. If it's too fast, it can sound kind of jarring, but if it's too slow, your first few words might still get buried in music. Hold is how long the music stays ducked after the dialogue stops. This is useful if you have short pauses between sentences, like if you take a breath or something like that and you don't want the music jumping back up every single time that you inhale. Recovery is how fast the music comes back up after the hold time is over. A lower value snaps back quickly, and a higher value fades back up more smoothly. The trick is finding the right balance for your content. For a chill voiceover, you probably want a slower rise time and a longer recovery so that it feels smooth. For something more punchy and fast paced, you might want quicker settings. Now, let's play it back again and see what happens with these settings dialed in. And here's the thing that really gets me. People like to say that fruit doesn't belong on pizza, but tomato sauce? That's a fruit. Tomatoes are literally a fruit. So if you're eating any kind of pizza with tomatoes on it, you're eating fruit on pizza. And honestly, I think that people who hate pineapple on pizza have just never actually tried it. They just follow the crowd because it's cool to hate on Hawaiian pizza. The music gets out of the way when I'm talking, but it doesn't feel like someone is riding the volume fader. Now, speaking of tools that make your workflow smoother, the music that I got for this was all from today's sponsor, Artlist. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I've been using Artlist for years for stock footage, royalty-free music, and sound effects, but they just launched something brand new that I think you're really gonna wanna check out. It's called the Artlist AI Toolkit, and it's basically an all-in-one workspace for AI image generation, AI video, and AI voiceovers. So instead of juggling like 5 different AI platforms bouncing between tabs, everything lives in one organized place. And here's what I really like about it. They're bringing in multiple leading AI models so you can pick the right tool for a specific job. Plus, all your generations are organized and saved into projects so you can actually go back and refine ideas and build on previous work instead of losing everything into a giant library of different generated pieces. They also just released the new Artlist Original Model 1.0, which is their first Artlist AI image generation model trained exclusively on their own high-quality footage. So every image that you generate is grounded in real professional cinematography. They built it with 4 dedicated styles: cinematic, professional, indie, and commercial. So whether you need AI-generated B-roll, voiceovers, or quick concept art for a new project, it's all right here. I'll drop a link down in the description if you want to go check it out. Thank you so much to Artlist for sponsoring this video, and back to ducking. Okay, so now you've seen how auto ducking works, let's talk about when it's great and when it's not so great. The biggest pro here is speed. Once you've got your settings dialed in, it just works. It's also non-destructive. The ducker is just a plugin running on the track. Your audio files aren't being changed, and if you don't like it, just turn it off and everything goes back to normal. And it's dynamic, so if you move clips around, re-edit your dialogue, or swap out the music entirely, the ducking just adapts with that. But there are some cons. Like I mentioned before, that maximum duck level is -18 decibels. Also, there's no threshold setting. The ducker reacts to whatever DaVinci Resolve decides it should react to. That could be your voice, but it could also be a background noise or a quiet breath. You don't get to decide what triggers it. Also, every single duck is exactly the same. They fade down the same and they fade back up the same every single time. You can't customize one duck to be faster or slower or deeper than another. If you need something specific for a particular moment, you're just out of luck. All right, so let's talk about the manual method. This is where you physically add keyframes to your music track and lower the volume yourself every time you want to duck. So here's how it works. First, make sure you're still on the edit page. You can do this right here without having to jump into Fairlight. So find your music track in the timeline. You'll see a white horizontal line line that's running through the middle of the clip. That is your volume level. If you don't see it, you might need to expand the track height just a little bit. Just drag the bottom edge of that track down to make it taller. Now, here's the workflow. Scrub through your timeline and find the exact moment where you start speaking. Hold down Option on a Mac or Alt on Windows and click on that white line right before you speak. That creates a keyframe. Now scrub forward a tiny bit and Option click again to add another keyframe. Next, scrub to right where you finish speaking and Option click to add a third keyframe. And finally, scrub forward just a bit past where you stopped speaking and Option click one more time. So now we should have 4 keyframes total, 2 on the outside that stay the original volume and 2 on the inside that we're about to lower. Now here's the trick that makes it easier. Click and drag the white line between those 2 inside keyframes straight down. When you do this, both of those middle keyframes will move down together, keeping the bar flat. I usually drop them down somewhere between -16 and -20 dB, but it depends on the music and the voice. And here's the cool part. Because you created those 4 keyframes, DaVinci automatically creates a smooth fade down from the first keyframe to the second, and then a smooth fade back up from the third to the fourth. So you don't have to do anything extra. They've already done those linear moves down and back up again. So play it back and listen. The music should drop right as you start talking and then come back up as soon as you stop. And honestly, I think that people who hate pineapple on pizza have just never actually tried it. They just follow the crowd because it's cool to hate on Hawaiian pizza. Now, if you need to adjust the timing of any keyframe, here's a pro tip. Click on the keyframe you want to move and then hold Shift while you drag it left or right. Holding Shift locks the volume in place, so you're only adjusting the timing, not accidentally changing how much it ducks. This is super handy when you need to fine-tune things. And if you want to speed this up a little bit, once you've created your first duck with 4 keyframes, you can copy and paste the entire pattern to other sections. Command-click or Control on Windows on all 4 of your keyframes, and then hit Command or Control-C to copy, then place your playhead where you want the next one to happen and paste with Command-V or Control-V. That copies the entire ducking pattern, and you might need to adjust the timing slightly, but it's way faster than starting from scratch every time. Now, I should mention there is another option if you want to get more advanced. You can also apply ducking at the track level instead of the clip level, but you need to do that in the Fairlight page. But honestly, I use clip level ducking like 99% of the time. It gives me exactly what I need without overcomplicating things. All right, let's play back that section with manual ducking and compare it to the auto method. They just follow the crowd because it's cool to hate on Hawaiian pizza. But I'm done apologizing for my choices. So now that you've seen how manual ducking works, let's talk about the pros and cons. Starting with the pros. The biggest advantage is that you get more refined results. You're in complete control of every single duck. That level of customization just isn't possible with the auto method. You also have full control over how much the music ducks. With auto ducking, you're capped at that -18 dB. With manual, you can go as low as you need. And learning to keyframe volume is useful for way more than just ducking. Once you know how to do this, you can fix clipping, smooth out inconsistent audio, create fades, all kind of stuff. But there are definitely some cons. It is a manual clip-by-clip job. Every section of dialogue needs its own set of keyframes, and that can add up quickly. If you move a clip around within your timelines, the keyframes move with it, which sounds like it could be good at first, but if you're rearranging things, you might end up with ducks in the wrong places. Nobody wants ducks in the wrong places. And if you want to swap out your music track entirely, all of those keyframes are gone and you have to start over from scratch, redoing all the ducking. So when should you use manual versus auto? Use manual ducking when you need precision and control. If you're working on something like a short film or a commercial or any project where the audio mix really matters, manual gives you the power to make it perfect. Use auto ducking when you have a lot of dialogue and you want to save time. If you're doing something like a podcast or a long tutorial, a voiceover heavy video, anything where you're talking for most of the runtime, auto ducking will save you hours of manual work. Now here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes I use both. I'll set up auto ducking to handle the bulk of the dialogue. Then I'll go in and add manual keyframes for specific sections that need extra attention. So it's not always either or, sometimes you can combine them. The key is understanding what each method is good at and using the right tool for the job. Cool to hate on Hawaiian pizza. But I'm done apologizing for my choices. Pineapple belongs on pizza, and I'll die on that hill. I'm sorry, I can't. Now, before we wrap up, I should mention that there are a couple other more advanced ways to do ducking that we didn't cover in this video. One is doing manual ducking at the track level in the Fairlight page, like I mentioned, instead of at the clip level like we did here. There's also a third method that uses a compressor with a sidechain, which gives you even more control over the ducking curve and behavior. If you want to see me cover that in another video, again, leave me a comment and let me know. If you have questions, I'll try my best to help. Just leave a comment down below, and on your way down there, hit the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.